To start off this demo, the materials that I will be using today are watercolors and pastels. The paper that I chose for this is called Reeves BFK. This is a traditional drawing and printmaking paper. Most pastel artists enjoy working with this paper because it is incredibly supple yet durable and can withstand heavy layering, working the surface, and erasing. It is also a very toothy surface that pastels and other mediums can attach to very well. So first, I'm going to activate all my colors. When I say the word activate, I mean to get each of my watercolors ready by adding water so that when I begin my painting, they're all ready for me to use right away. I will begin using watercolors and then layering in pastels later. So as this demo progresses, I want you to pay very close attention to how complementary colors interact with each other. I will start off by painting the complementary colors I see. So as I begin, I'm looking at my reference image and I'm painting the areas where there is green, red, blue, orange, and yellow, purple, because the complementary color of green is red, and the complementary color of blue is orange, and the complementary color of yellow is purple, and so on. So during this part, you are not going for detail. You're just blocking in colors of what you see to get a rough sketch of where everything's laid out in your composition. So now once you've blocked in all your watercolors, it's time to wait till they dry. And then, once they're dry, up next are pastels. Now you will use the actual color of your subject. So for example, I'm going to block in the orange areas with blue and the red areas with green. Now it will start to look more like the authentic or real image that you selected. In my case, it's a landscape. As I'm using my pastels, I'm looking at the slight changes in color. For example, the sky fades from dark blue to light blue. Once I block those colors, you can use your fingers to blend those colors together. Many painters enjoy pastels because they blend very similarly to paint. You will notice that even the first layers of these pastels are still very general in shape and are not detailed. I chose this landscape for this demo, but this technique can really be done with any subject matter. Some things to note are that pastels are extremely messy and will smudge very easily once you touch. So with that being said, make sure you keep your hand and arm from resting on the surface to prevent your whole drawing from getting smudged. Now as I'm sketching in the tree, you can see that you can use pastels in multiple ways. So right now I'm holding the pastel like a pencil, making thin lines like a pencil or pen would. And then I take the pastel and turn it on its side, and I use it to block in the color. As I add in the leaves, I'm not going for precise detail. I'm also not coloring solid areas in. I'm simply mark making and laying down different shades as I look at my reference image. I'm doing this tree last because it is in the foreground, which is the part that is closest to the observer in your composition. It is important to note that it is usually easier to start farthest away in your composition and then work towards what's closest to your viewer. You start with the less detailed and add more detail as it goes. Every layer of detail that is added, you can see that it is starting to look more like a real landscape. You can blend in or leave layers unblended, whatever you prefer for your drawing. As I'm adding more detail, keep in mind what colors I am using. So as I'm adding in grass details, I'm not just using one yellow. I'm combining that with browns and oranges. Similar to pointillism, when you lay multiple colors next to each other, unmixed, your eyes will blend those hues together itself, creating a much more developed tone than using only one color. When adding darker value or shades, it is key to add its complementary. For example, when I'm adding a dark shadow in the grass, I'm using the color red. Its complement. Using the complementary color enriches the overall drawing. Like I said before, pastels are extremely messy, so if you don't want your edges all messy, I would suggest taping them off. Pastels will erase slightly, but as you can see, it will not take many layers off, so don't count on being able to erase perfectly clean. Lastly, I'm adding a spray fixative. This acts as a varnish and prevents smudging, but also allows for additional layers of pastels to be added if necessary. It is important to note that it can alter the tones of your artwork, as you can see it in mine. You can, however, use this to your advantage and spray areas that you would like to see darker and leave other areas out. Now as we look back at the finished demo, let's think back to the use of complementary color layering. When you put a color's complement beneath that color, it changes the color. Since light passes through all layers of transparent color, your eyes and brain will mix the colors to create a new color. When we look at this demo, it is clear to see that by using a complementary color, it deepens and enriches the surface color in ways that is next to impossible by using just one single color.